The Northrop T-38 Talon is a two-seat, twin-jet supersonic jet trainer. It was the world's first supersonic trainer and is also the most produced. The T-38 remains in service as of 2018 in several air forces. The United States Air Force operates the most T-38s. In addition to training United States Air Force pilots, the T-38 is used by NASA. The United States Naval Test Pilot School is the principal U.S. Navy operator. Other T-38s were previously used as United States Navy aggressor aircraft until replaced by the similar Northrop F-5 Tiger II. Pilots of other NATO nations fly the T-38 in joint training programs with United States Air Force pilots. As of 2018, the T-38 has been in service for over 50 years with its original operator, the United States Air Force. Overview. Role: Advanced Trainer. National Origin: United States. Manufacturer: Northrop Corporation. First flight: the 10th of April 1959. Introduction: the 17th of March 1961. Status: operational. Primary users: United States Air Force, United States Navy, NASA, Turkish Air Force. Produced 1961 to 1972. Number built 1146. Unit cost. Cost when built $756,000. Today's money $6.173 million. Developed from Northrop N156. Variants: Northrop F-5. Design and development. In 1952 Northrop began work on a fighter project, the Fang, with shoulder-mounted delta wing and a single engine. The proposed General Electric J-79 engine, weighing nearly 2 tons, meant the resulting aircraft would be large and expensive. Then in 1953, representatives from General Electric Aviation's newly created Small Aircraft Engine Department showed Northrop a relatively tiny engine, around 400 pounds installed WT, capable of 2,500 pounds of thrust. And Northrop VP Engineering Edgar Schmood saw the possibility of reversing the trend toward the large fighters. Schmood and Chief Engineer Welko Gasich decided on a small twin-engine, hot rod fighter, the N156. Northrop began its N156 project in 1954, aiming for a small supersonic fighter jet capable of operating from the U.S. Navy's escort carriers. However, when the Navy chose not to pursue equipping its fleets in that fashion, Northrop continued the N156 design using in-house funding, recasting it as a lightweight fighter, dubbed N156F, and aimed at the export market. In the mid-1950s the United States Air Force issued a general operating requirement for a supersonic trainer, planning to retire its 1940s-era Lockheed T-33s. Northrop officials decided to adapt the N156 to this competition. The only other candidate was the two-seat version of the North American F-100 Super Sabre. Although the F-100 was not considered the ideal candidate for a training aircraft, it is not capable of recovering from a spin. North American Aviation was still considered the favorite in the competition due to that company's favored contractor status with the Air Force. However, Northrop officials convincingly presented life cycle cost comparisons which could not be ignored, and they were awarded the contract, receiving an order for 3 prototypes. The first, designated YT-38, flew on the 10th of April 1959. The type was quickly adopted and the first production examples were delivered in 1961, officially entering service on the 17th of March that year, complementing the T-37 primary jet trainer. When production ended in 1972, 1,187 T-38s had been built, plus 2 N156T prototypes. Since its introduction, it is estimated that some 50,000 military pilots have trained on this aircraft. The United States Air Force remains one of the few armed flying forces using dedicated supersonic final trainers, as most, such as the U.S. Navy, use high subsonic trainers. The T-38 is of conventional configuration, with a small, low, long-chord wing, a single vertical stabilizer, and tricycle undercarriage. The aircraft seats a student pilot and instructor in tandem, and has intakes for its two turbojet engines at the wing roots. Its nimble performance has earned it the nickname White Rocket. In 1962, the T-38 set absolute time to climb records for 3,000, 6,000, 9,000 and 12,000 meters, beating the records for those altitudes set by the F-104 in December 1958. The F-4 beat the T-38's records less than a month later. The F-5B and F, which also derive from the N-156, can be distinguished from the T-38 by the wings. The wing of the T-38 meets the fuselage straight and ends square, while the F-5 has leading-edge extensions near the wing roots and wingtip launch rails for air-to-air missiles. The wings of both the T-38 and the F-5 family use conventional skin over spar rib structure. Most T-38s built were of the T-38A variant, but the United States Air Force also had a small number of aircraft converted for weapons training, designated a T-38B, which were fitted with a gun sight and could carry a gun pod, rockets, or bombs on a centerline pylon. In 2015, 504 T-38s were still operational with the United States Air Force, with many more in operation around the world. Most of the United States Air Force variant aircraft T-38A and T-38B have been converted to the T-38C through an avionics upgrade program. Improvements include the addition of a heads-up display, global positioning system, inertial navigation system, and traffic collision avoidance system. Most jets have also received PMP, a propulsion modification to improve low-altitude engine thrust. Approximately a third of the fleet, those that experience more severe usage, are currently undergoing structural replacements and upgrades, as well as receiving new wings, to extend their service life to 2029. The fighter version of the N-156 was eventually selected for the U.S. Military Assistance Program and produced as the F-5 Freedom Fighter. Many of these have since reverted to a weapons training role as various air forces have introduced newer types into service. The F-5G was an advanced single-engine variant later renamed the F-20 Tiger Shark. In 2018, the Iranian Air Force announced that an outwardly similar aircraft, named the Kawsar, had been constructed within Iran. Specifications: T-38A. General characteristics: Crew, 2, student and instructor. Length, 46 feet 4.5 inches, 14.14 meters. Wingspan, 25 feet 3 inches, 7.7 meters. Height, 12 feet 10.5 inches, 3.92 meters. Wing area, 170 square feet, 15.79 square meters. Empty weight, 7,200 pounds, 3,270 kilograms. Loaded weight, 11,820 pounds, 5,360 kilograms. Max takeoff weight, 12,093 pounds, 5,485 kilograms. Power plant, 2 times General Electric J85-5A, J85-5R after PMP modification, after burning turbojets. Dry thrust, 2,050 pounds, 9.1 kilonewtons each. Thrust with afterburner, 2,900 lbf, 12.9 kilonewtons each. Performance: maximum speed, Mach 1.3, 858 miles per hour, 1,381 kilometers per hour. Range 1,140 miles, 1,835 kilometers. Service ceiling, 50,000 feet, 15,240 meters. Rate of climb, 33,600 feet per minute, 170.7 meters per second. Wing loading, 69.53 pounds per square foot, 339.4 kilograms per square meter. Thrust weight, 0.65. Operational history. Military. The United States Air Force Strategic Air Command had T-38s in service from 1978 until Strategic Air Command's 1991 inactivation. These aircraft were used to enhance the career development of bomber co-pilots through the Accelerated Co-Pilot Enrichment Program. They were later used as proficiency aircraft for all B-52, B-1, Lockheed SR-71, U-2, Boeing KC-135, and KC-10 pilots. Strategic Air Command's successors, the Air Combat Command and the Air Force Global Strike Command, continue to retain T-38s as proficiency aircraft for U-2 pilots and B-2 pilots, respectively. The Air Training Command's successor, the Air Education and Training Command, uses the T-38C to prepare pilots for the F-15C Eagle and F-15E Strike Eagle, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, B-52 Stratofortress, B-1B Lancer, B-2 Spirit, A-10 Thunderbolt, F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II. The Air Education and Training Command received T-38Cs in 2001 as part of the avionics upgrade program. The T-38Cs owned by the Air Education and Training Command have undergone propulsion modernization, which replaces major engine components to enhance reliability and maintainability, and an engine inlay injector modification to increase available takeoff thrust. These upgrades and modifications, with the Pacer Classic program, should extend the service life of T-38s past 2020. The T-38 has an availability goal of 75%, which it maintained in 2011. However, in 2015 availability is 60%. Besides the United States Air Force, United States Navy and NASA, other T-38 operators included the German Air Force Luftwaffe, the Portuguese Air Force, the Republic of China Air Force, and the Turkish Air Force. Replacement. The United States Air Force launched the T-X program in 2010 to replace the T-38. Bidders included a joint venture of BAE Systems and Rolls-Royce, offering the Hawk trainer, equipped with Rolls-Adore Mk951 engine offering 6,500 pounds of thrust and FADEC, Lockheed Martin and Korea Aerospace Industries, offering the T-50, and Raytheon and Alenia Airmarque offering the T-100. An aircraft whose design originated with the M346. Boeing and Saab offered a new technology design powered by the General Electric F404 turbofan engine. The Boeing-Saab bid first flew on December 20, 2016, and on September 27, 2018 was declared the winner of the T-X competition. NASA operates a fleet of 32 T-38 aircraft and uses the aircraft as a jet trainer for its astronauts, as well as a chase plane. Its fleet is housed primarily at Ellington Field in Houston, Texas. NASA's internal projections show the number of operational jet trainers falling to 16 by 2015. The agency spends $25–30 million annually to fly and maintain the T-38s. During the Space Shuttle era, it was established NASA tradition for astronauts to arrive at the Kennedy Space Center in T-38 Talons. Accidents. More than 210 aircraft losses and ejections have been documented over the lifetime of the T-38. NASA's T-38s were involved in 4 separate fatal accidents in the 1960s and 1970s, and several non-fatal incidents. 1964 October 31, astronaut Theodore Freeman was killed as a result of a bird strike. 1966 February 28, astronauts Elliot C. and Charles Bassett were killed when they struck a building in fog. 1967 October 5, astronaut Clifton C. Williams was killed in a crash due to an aileron jam. In response to the 1973 OPEC oil embargo, from 1974 to 1983, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbird's aerobatic display team adopted the T-38 Talon, which used far less fuel than the F-4 Phantom. The Blue Angels downsized to the Douglas A-4 Skyhawk at roughly the same time. After the 1982 Diamond crash incident that killed 4 of the Thunderbird's 6 demonstration pilots, the T-38 was replaced in this role by the frontline F-16A Fighting Falcon. Civil. There are 7 privately owned T-38s in the U.S. Boeing owns 2 T-38s, which it uses as chase planes. Thornton Corporation owns 2 T-38s and 3 F-5s, and the National Test Pilot School owns 1 T-38. In addition, 2 others are in private ownership. Variants: N156T, Northrop Company designation. YT-38, prototypes, 2 built with YJ-85GE1 engines, later designated YT-38A, and 4 pre-production aircraft with YJ-85GE5 engines, later designated T-38A. T-38A, 2-seat Advanced Training Aircraft production model, 1139 built. T-38A, N, 2-seat astronaut training version for NASA. See T-38N below. AT-38A, a small number of T-38s were converted into weapons training aircraft. DT-38A, a number of U.S. Navy T-38s were converted into drone directors. GT-38A, permanently grounded aircraft, often due to flight or ground mishap, converted into ground procedural trainers or aircraft maintenance trainers. NT-38A, a small number of T-38s were converted into research and test aircraft. QT-38A, unmanned target drone aircraft. AT-38B, 2-seat weapons training aircraft. T-38C, a T-38A with structural and avionics upgrades. T-38M, modernized Turkish Air Force T-38s with full-glass cockpit and avionics, upgraded by Turkish Aerospace Industries under the project codename ARI, Turkish ARI, for B. T-38N, former United States Air Force T-38s bailed to NASA, and T-38s directly assigned to NASA that received an avionics upgrade program, modernizing communications and navigation systems, replacing outdated avionics, and adding a weather radar, flight management system, altitude alert systems, and modern controls and displays. N-205, Space Trainer, variant proposed in May 1958, with triple rocket engines for vertical launch. Capable of Mach 3.2 on its way to an altitude of 200,000 feet, 61,000 meters. Saint 38 or N-205B, revised proposal in April 1963 for the new Aerospace Research Pilot School, with a rolling takeoff top speed of Mach 3.3 and a ceiling of 285,000 feet, 87,000 meters, high enough to qualify its pilots for astronaut wings. T-38 VTOL, proposed vertical takeoff variant with 4 lift nozzles behind the pilot. Operators: German Air Force 46 T-38A in 1968, now upgraded to T-38C. All aircraft are stationed at Shepherd AFB, Texas, and are painted in U.S. markings. Portugal: Portuguese Air Force 12 aircraft in 1977. Initially operated by 201 Squadron Falcons at Air Base No. 5. In 1980 they were transferred to 103 Squadron Carousel Snails, being stationed in Air Base No. 11. They were retired in 1993, replaced by Dassault Dornier Alpha Jet. South Korea: Republic of Korea Air Force 30 T-38A from the U.S. in April 1999. All units were returned to the U.S. by 2009 after near completion of production of T-50 Golden Eagle supersonic trainer. Taiwan, Republic of China. Republic of China Air Force, former operator, all aircraft returned to the U.S. in 1998. Turkey. Turkish Air Force 33 T-38M in service. United States. United States Air Force 503 T-38 trainers in service as of September 2017. 1st Fighter Wing, Langley AFB, Virginia. 71st Fighter Training Squadron. 9th Reconnaissance Wing, Beale Air Force Base, California. 1st Reconnaissance Squadron. 12th Flying Training Wing, Randolph Air Force Base, Texas. 2D Fighter Training Squadron. 435th Flying Training Squadron. 560th Flying Training Squadron. 14th Flying Training Wing, Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi. 49th Flying Training Squadron. 50th Flying Training Squadron. 47th Flying Training Wing, Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas. 87th Flying Training Squadron. 71st Flying Training Wing, Vance Air Force Base, Oklahoma. 25th Flying Training Squadron. 80th Flying Training Wing, Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas. 88th Flying Training Squadron. 90th Flying Training Squadron. 469th Flying Training Squadron. 96th Test Group, Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico. 586th Flight Test Squadron. 325th Fighter Wing, Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida. 2D Fighter Training Squadron. 340th Flying Training Group, Randolph Air Force Base, Texas. 43D Flying Training Squadron, Columbus AFB. 96th Flying Training Squadron, Laughlin AFB. 97th Flying Training Squadron, Shepherd AFB. 412th Test Wing, Edwards Air Force Base, California. 445th Flight Test Squadron. 413th Flight Test Group, Randolph Air Force Base, Texas. 415th Flight Test Flight. 509th Bomb Wing, Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. 13th Bomb Squadron. United States Navy. 10 aircraft in use as November 2008. United States Naval Test Pilot School. NASA, approximately 32 aircraft bailed from United States Air Force. Aircraft on display. T-38A. 581196 California Science Center, in Los Angeles, California. 591601 on base display, Air University Area, Maxwell AFB, Alabama. 591602 on base display, United States Air Force Academy, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Painted as Thunderbird 1. 591604 National Naval Aviation Museum, NAS, Pensacola, Florida. Former United States Air Force aircraft bailed to United States Navy and utilized by the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School at NAS, Patuxent River, Maryland. 591605 on base display, United States Air Force History and Traditions Museum, Lackland AFB, Texas. 600549 Prairie Aviation Museum, in Bloomington, Illinois. 600558 American Legion Post 233 in Edinburgh, Indiana. 600570 Edward F. Beale Museum, Beale AFB, California. 600573 on display, Degner Regional Airport, Owatonna, Minnesota, with 600589 and 610828. 600574 on base display, Laughlin AFB, Texas. 600589 on display, Degner Regional Airport, Owatonna, Minnesota, with 600573 and 610828. 610817 Oklahoma Welcome Station, adjacent to Tinker AFB, Oklahoma. 610828 on display, Degner Regional Airport, Owatonna, Minnesota, with 600573 and 600589. 610829 Gallup Municipal Airport, Gallup, New Mexico. 610838 on base display, in front of Randolph Inn Visiting Officers Quarters, BOQ, Randolph AFB, Texas. 610854 Pima Air and Space Museum, adjacent to Davis-Monthan AFB in Tucson, Arizona, on display in the markings of the 479th Tactical Training Wing at Holloman AFB, Nanometer, circa 1982. 610858 Shepherd AFB Airpark, Shepherd AFB, Texas. 610902 Science Spectrum in Lubbock, Texas. 610926 Salina, Oklahoma, lawn of American Legion, post number 240. 623673 Mason County Airport, Michigan, construction number CN.5378, built 1962. Painted blue and gray camouflage static displayed on a pedestal along US 10 showing United States Air Force tail markings of the 434th Fighter Training Squadron when it was located at Holloman Air Force Base between 1977 and 1991. 638125 Shepherd AFB Airpark, Shepherd AFB. 638224 Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville, Oregon, painted in NASA colors, suspended from the ceiling in the Air and Space Exhibit Hall. 65100405 On Base Display, Columbus AFB, Mississippi. 65100426 On Base Display, Vance AFB, Oklahoma. 668381, NASA 901, N901NA, assigned directly to NASA as the second NASA T-38 to be designated as NASA 901 and N901NA, on display at Aviation Heritage Park, Bowling Green, Kentucky. T-38A. 600592 Dyess Linear Airpark, Dyess AFB, Texas. 600593 Marchfield Air Museum at March Arb, former March AFB, in Riverside, California, on display in Thunderbirds markings. 610824 Hill Aerospace Museum adjacent to Hill AFB, Utah. YT38A. 581192 South Dakota Air and Space Museum at Ellsworth AFB, South Dakota. AT38B. 600576 On Base Display, Holloman AFB, New Mexico. 651044 National Museum of the United States Air Force at Wright-Patterson AFB in Dayton, Ohio. This aircraft was retired in 1991, came to the museum in 1999, and was placed on display in 2004. T-38N. 651039, NASA 969, N969NA, on display at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, NASA, John F. Kennedy Space Center, Merritt Island, Florida. 651035, NASA 913, N913NA, on display at the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum, New York, New York. 668381, NASA 901, N901NA, assigned directly to NASA as the second NASA T-38 to be designated as NASA 901 and N901NA, on display at Aviation Heritage Park, Bowling Green, Kentucky.